Welcome to Inside Creative Minds. I'm your host, Trey Goodman. On this episode, we'll meet a Hispanic visual artist. But before that, let's catch up with Faith Hibbs Clark, a local casting director. Well, Faith, welcome to Inside Creative Minds, and we're here at the Sky Cafe in Mesa.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you are a casting director.
That's right.
And some people say casting agent at times, I hear, and sometimes they say casting director. Correct me on what that's all about.
I'm so glad you asked that question because it's actually, I think, number one on my pet peeves list, which you can refer to on my website.
Okay.
But yeah, there's no such thing as a casting agent, and yet those terms get mixed up a lot. A casting director is one position, and then there's a talent agent. The difference is mainly that a casting director works for the production, so we're there to help the production find what they need. A casting or a talent agent is actually working for the talent, getting them the jobs. So so you're kind of just mixing them up.
Right.
We are paid by the production company, and the agent obviously is paid when the talent makes money.
So let's talk exactly what is a casting director. Take me through a typical day. Is there a typical day?
Well, yeah. It starts off in the shower with my cell phone.
Okay,
You know, they really need to come up with waterproof cell phones so that I can get more productive.
Right.
A typical day, well, if I haven't been woken up in the middle of the night with a frantic director telling me that we need 50 more people by 6 a.m., then I go into the office and my team and we discuss what's coming up for the day, and we're either scheduling or we're casting. So we're either prepping or we're casting. We prep and bring in the actors on a prep day, and on a casting day, that's when all the actors show up, and it's our job to put them on tape and show those tapes. And I actually use that word loosely because we really don't put them on tape anymore, but that's maybe another question. But we record them, we get video on them, and then we present that to the director. And then the director decides who they want to cast.
So that's pretty much the process. Now, I'm going to ask you why you do this, but before that, how did you get into it?
How did I get into it?
Yeah, I mean, why casting? Why a casting director?
I went into this probably in the most unusual way.
Okay.
And to say that I fell into it, I really did, kind of head first fell into it. But when, I was always involved in the entertainment industry in some way. I used to act. But when I had children, my life changed. They do that. And I wanted to find something that I could do where I could stay at home during my last pregnancy. And so I started a newspaper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, started a newspaper, and I would get producers and directors calling saying, I need this or that, can you put an ad in the newspaper?
Okay.
And I said, well, I could, except you want it next week or tomorrow, And the only problem with that is the newspaper only comes out every 2 months.
So that's really interesting that led you into
Well,
that.
it was crazy because I realized that I could make a living finding actors.
And to heck with the newspaper, right?
To heck with the newspaper. The internet changed that. The newspaper actually was very successful until the internet came along, and then that sort of changed publishing a little bit. But by then, I had become so active in casting.
And you had the bug and you
the
could,
bug,
yeah.
the flu bug, yeah.
Let's talk about the business of being a casting director. There's got to be some great things. What's the best part about it? I mean, you've been doing it for at least 10 years.
11 years.
Okay, so who's counting, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
It was just yesterday.
if you've been doing it that long, you must maybe like it. So what's the best part about it?
There's a lot of things I like about it.
Yeah.
I like actors. I like people, and I like directors, most of them.
Yeah.
But it's always different. It's always changing.
Right.
And it's almost like it's such a challenge because, being in the entertainment business, there's so many variables, there's so many things that can go wrong.
Right.
And it's just really cool to be able to think, ahead and try to figure out, almost becoming like, the psychic, trying to get in their head and figure out what they envision, what they're thinking, what they might want. And that's always a constant challenge, is to get, one step ahead of what that director might want.
Well, let's talk about that challenge. I mean, what sets you apart from, say, another casting director? How do you know that you're delivering what they're wanting? I mean, how do you know when you see the talent? Like, that that's what they need? How do you know that?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I'm really good at is
Yeah.
getting ahead. You know, it's great when the director can ask for something and you can either produce it right away or you can say, already done it.
So
Already
like
got
that
that
phone
for you.
call at midnight when you need
Yeah.
50, you've actually thought about that and you got 50 people on speed dial, you're ready to
We
go?
have systems in place. I always say I specialize in casting miracles.
Yeah. And if
Casting
you pull
miracles.
enough off, that probably brings you to the top, right?
It does.
Yeah.
Because there's no such word as no in this business. You know,
Yeah.
you can't tell a director, you know what, I'm glad you like that and want that, but no. You know, you can't do that.
Any
You've gotta,
story that you've got that's just wacky, crazy, either involving a director or maybe people that come in to be cast?
Well, when we worked on My Boys,
Oh, it's TBS, right?
yeah. We
Okay.
worked on My Boys, and they shot out here, and I had to get all these extras. And the last minute, they realized that putting these extras in the stands wasn't going to fill up enough space. And I knew when they asked me that 50
Yeah.
was probably not going to look like, you know,
Right.
a crowd of
Can't
extras.
you just CGI another 100
Yeah,
in
well, I
there?
think maybe they thought they could, but no, I got a call. I think it was around 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
We need another 100 extras.
Are you out of your mind?
And that was for the next day. You know, 6 o'clock.
It sounds like a
6
crank,
a.m.
crank call, maybe.
Yeah, I know. You're kidding, right? Yeah.
Did you
But we
pull-
did it.
Did you
know?
you pulled that off?
We pulled it off because you know what? I already knew in advance. I already knew there was a really good chance that they were going to want more. So
Wow.
we had them all kind of in the wings. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I got it. And what they don't realize is that, you know, if we were, you know, normal and not superhuman,
Yeah.
that you can't call 100 people in the middle of the night.
Well, I guess you might try, but they
You
probably
could
wouldn't
try,
answer the phone.
You could try, but
Wow. Well, I don't want you to
you
give
know.
all your secrets away on how you're able to get 100 people. I mean,
right.
But let's talk about misconceptions. What people think you do, or you don't do, or what actors think you do, or you don't.
I don't do windows.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't make the decisions. I don't make the decisions. So,
Right.
believe it or not, I have a little folder at the office. It's filled with hate mail.
Mm.
You know, it's always anonymous.
You
Always
mean
anonymous.
from people that didn't
That
make the
didn't
cut,
get
so to
cast
speak? Yeah.
or whatever. You know. This is the thing, you know, we don't decide. The director decides, the producers decide on a studio or network project. You know, you've got the execs, the suits
Right.
that can kill a deal. We didn't kill the deal. you
Right.
know. The only thing that we decide is we decide who we bring in, and we
Right.
can't bring in everybody. That would
Right.
be ridiculous. My
Yeah.
job is to narrow it down to the best candidates.
And that's where your
That's-
skill. That's your skill, right?
That's number one.
I mean,
That's expected. That's
Yeah.
number one. And then
how did you get that skill? That's not anything to do with a newspaper. How'd that come about?
that's a very good question.
And the answer is?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I have an eye for it. You know, a lot of times when the directors sit down with me and discuss a role and they say, you know, I'm sort of seeing this and,
Right.
and you know, I'm already in my head, I've got ideas of people that I'm going to bring in. And a
Okay.
lot of times I can, you know, we play games at the office, you know, we'll say, I think so-and-so is going to get the role. Because a lot of times that first person or the second person that maybe came to my mind when we were talking with the director, you know, a lot of times that ends up being the person that gets cast. And of course, we don't want them to know that because then they're going to call me up and say, hey, Faith, what do you think?
Okay.
And we're out of a job.
So when people come into your studio to be cast, what exactly is set up? I mean, you told me you tape them, but not really tape them. But is it just a camera and a wall, and they just have to sort of perform? I mean, just and cue, and you perform? I mean, how does that work?
Well, we give them information in advance, and we
Yeah.
give them sides
Okay.
so that they can prepare.
And what are
it.
sides?
Sides are
Because
portions.
I like mashed potatoes and gravy and macaroni and cheese. No? Not
No,
that?
no, but I like spinach.
Okay.
Okay. Sides are portions of the script,
Right.
so it's their characters, their scene.
Okay.
So and we just send them copies of the sides so that they can prepare in
Right.
advance. The more prepared they are, of course, the better.
Right.
At our studio, we have our own studio, so at our studio we have a green screen, you know, lighting and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we bring them in, and I usually like to see what the actor will do first.
Okay.
So I bring them in, and we just let him go.
I see. Okay.
Because you never know.
Right.
You never know.
Yeah.
If I feel that they're way off, or maybe they really suck and they're not worth, you know,
Yeah.
doing another take, or maybe I want to just change what they've done a little bit. so we'll maybe retake it.
Advice for someone who watches this and says, wow, you've got the greatest job ever. I want to become a casting director. Advice?
Don't do it. Get a day job? No.
Yeah.
No, I love my job. I really do. I must, because
Right.
it's insanity. It's insanity. That's
So,
why.
sounds like managed insanity, sort of, right?
Somehow at the end of it all, there's a movie that comes out and it's in the theaters. So it
how
must
does that,
work.
How does that make you feel?
Well, I love it.
Yeah?
You know, I'm sitting there, I'm watching the credits.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's gone. That's my name up there. That's me.
And that keeps you going.
Everybody's gone.
Yeah,
You know.
they're all, had enough of this, right? Yeah.
Right.
Advice for someone coming to see you or your staff?
Be prepared. Be intelligent. And I think intelligence is what would make someone go, you know what, I think I might need to be prepared for this.
Give me some examples of things that have happened where you're like, you know what, you're not prepared. You got anything?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me for who's not, something where it showed not being intelligent. 'Cause I got good
that
ones
too.
on that.
Okay, give me that one.
Okay. All right. So back in the day before, email and all that, I was doing a casting and I had the sides there available
Okay.
at the office, because that's how it used to be before, we started getting into technology and everything.
Okay, yeah.
And so we didn't want to print out, 100 sides. So we printed about 20 and we put them in a folder. And on the folder, I took a Sharpie and I wrote, return to folder after audition.
Makes sense.
Okay, that way I could recycle.
Right,
I
of
was
course.
always
Yeah, they don't need to take them.
them.
They don't want them to take them with them. Just keep,
That's
just keep
right.
them going.
So,
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So we were going through these auditions, and there was this nice young man, bless his heart, and he did his audition, and he kept standing there in the waiting room.
Yeah.
I thought, well, maybe he's waiting for a ride or something. So after about an hour, I came out to him and I said, you're all done. You can leave now.
You can leave now.
And
In
he
fact,
goes,
leave now.
Yeah, it was kind of a polite way of saying that. But no, I was like, honey, you all done?
Yeah.
He goes, oh, okay. He goes, because I saw here on the folder it says, return to folder after audition.
Oh my God. That's funny.
That's hilarious. Oh gosh, I've got stories. I've had people puke. We usually let them do it again.
Well, I would hope so.
I've had people pass out. Really common.
Yeah.
Guys leave their flies open.
Oh, I'll remember that if I come to audition.
So really good advice for men who come to audition for me is, zip it up.
Well, Faith, I've enjoyed talking to you. I'm so glad we finally got a real live casting director on our show, and let's catch up down the road again and see what you're
Yes,
up to.
because I'm sure there'll be more crazy stories to tell you.
Well, thanks so much for being on the
You're
show.
a pleasure. You're a treat.
All right, thanks.
Wasn't Faith's story amazing? Hey, I hope she can find a role for me. ICM will be right back.
Brought to you by SCF Arizona, the state's largest provider of workers' compensation insurance. We help Arizona workers stay safe while helping Arizona's economy by keeping insurance costs low, giving money back to businesses, and giving back to the community. SCF Arizona, at work for you.
Supporting locally owned businesses is better for the economy, builds unique communities, and preserves the environment. Find out more at localfirstaz.com. Think local, buy local, be local.
Welcome back to Inside Creative Minds. I just love multimedia artists, and let's go check out my friend Ollie's work.
So, Ollie, welcome to Inside Creative Minds. We're here at the Sky Cafe in Mesa. Now, you're a visual artist, correct?
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Now, how did you get started into the creative process of being a visual artist?
Well, I started very young, I guess as any other kid, painting watercolors and doing,
So as a young
messing
age,
around.
you were always interested in that?
Yeah, I always knew that I was going to be an artist, I guess, but I knew exactly what it was called, I guess.
Okay.
To the time I was doing all this stuff, music and paintings, but I really started painting fabrics and shirts and dresses for women.
And we're taking a look at your work today as we talk. Now, what do you specialize in? Because visual art is a wide area. What are some of your specialties?
It's photographs and paintings, mixed media too.
Right.
Most of them paintings.
Well, Ollie, I know you have a lot of media and a lot of techniques. Let's talk about that some.
Well, I started doing watercolors.
Yeah.
Then I moved to oils,
Right.
oil pastels,
Yeah.
and then acrylics, and then oils, and then I tried the encaustic. This technique is kind of difficult to do it.
Yeah.
It's made on wax or paraffin, and you can use it in different ways. But how I use it is warming up the paraffin and mix it with spatulas, metal spatulas, really fast. It's
Yeah.
so experimental. And now what I'm doing is I went back to acrylics and mixing with photographs, digital photographs.
How has the study of Mexican history and culture, how's that influenced your work?
Well, I think it's a very important main image that I use. I always using some of the ancient images, and I study the different cultures. And
You seem to be very interested in that.
yeah, it's my passion actually. Yeah, I remember getting this book when I was so young and so kid, reading about these archaeologists and stuff. I didn't understand anything, but I was so impressed by the images. So it's always motivating me to doing more art.
And that's sort of even
how
your
it feels.
Toltec series, right? Or your Toltec
Yeah,
collection.
exactly. Totally reflects there. Yeah, that was my final exam, about this year studying the cultures.
What are your influences? I mean, what gets you motivated? What got you on that direction? I mean, I understand that you started doing it with your young child, but there had to be some sort of a motivation, right?
Yeah, my motivation started with the Huirarica people. This is the native people of Jalisco. That's where I'm from.
Okay.
And these people are well international known as very colorful paintings.
Yeah. Your work is very colorful. Yes.
So I guess that's my main inspiration. And then as I grew up and looked in the books and went to the museums, the three biggest muralists that Mexico had done, Siqueiros, Rivera, Orozco. Those
So
people
those
have
were
been-
sort of like your inspiration?
Yeah,
and-
exactly.
But you do sort of, I guess, what you would call a series, or you do different group. Explain that. What do you
yeah,
call,
that
you call
I've been doing that. I call it collections.
collections? Okay,
Yeah,
you
I've
have
been-
like a Toltec.
Yeah,
collection,
that
you
was my
have-
first collection that I
Okay,
did
yeah.
in 2004, and it's
Okay.
called Toltecayot collection.
Right.
And it talks about the philosophy and religion, I would say,
Right.
about the ancient Mexican.
So you work on a series or a collection for a while, then you move to another one. Is it just a progression?
Yeah, it's what I would say is it's working on the same theme, but
Okay.
in different directions. But
Okay, yeah.
everything is involved in the same theme.
Yeah.
After the first one, I did one that is called Who We Are. It was more social art
Right.
with immigration issues.
Right.
And the one that I'm working right now is called I Am Another You. And this is-
I am another you.
I Am Another You. That's
Okay,
how
yeah,
it's called. And
yeah.
this is more as giving solutions as a human beings on the relation with the human beings.
You seem to bring politics into your art. Is there a purpose for that? What
Of
is-
course, definitely. For me, if there's no purpose in art,
Yeah.
there's no way to spend the time
Okay.
doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I started doing abstracts for 15 years.
Okay.
And then I realized that I was doing it for myself.
The abstracts were you just felt good about it? Is that what
Yeah,
you mean?
expressionist abstract,
Yeah.
playing with the color and
Yeah.
feel good doing it.
You
Doesn't
do,
matter if I
you do
sell.
love color, right? I mean.
Yeah, that's that's my main
Yeah.
thing. But I didn't like. I realized that it needs to have something behind. That was the time I was studying the muralist
Okay,
movement.
yeah,
Because these painters, they were called themselves citizen artists.
Okay,
Not
citizen.
just an artist.
Right, right.
Because an artist, it got the commitment and responsibility with all the people.
What is your
in the
message?
neighborhood. Well, I guess my message is to get together, accept the different cultures,
Right.
and that nobody's better than the other. We're just different.
Right.
But at the end, we're humans.
Okay.
That's the main message.
And do you continue that message through the different collections? Is
Oh
that- is
yeah,
that the-
definitely,
yeah?
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it started to thinking more deep in this collection when I moved here to the United States.
And when did you move?
I've moved 10 years ago.
So 10 years ago?
2000.
So that was probably a big social change too as
Oh
well,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
I mean,
I have too many cultures, you know, different language.
so how did that
different
influence? How does that influence your work?
Totally.
Yeah.
You know, in a big perspective, because now I was looking from different directions and feeling all this kind of situation that I wasn't used to. So I was like, well, I better have a good product, a good art to all these different cultures that I've been socialized with. You know.
When people look at your work, what do you want them to? What do you want them to get from it? What do you want them to verbalize?
Well, first of all, I would say a colorful experience
Okay. Yeah.
of a message from the soul.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I want the people to look at that, you know, live the experience at the moment
Right.
of my creation, because I really enjoyed my piece when I'm doing it,
Okay.
because at the end it's just there, you know.
Yeah.
But the connection with the viewer, it had to be, I mean, more as a feeling, I guess.
Right.
Not understand very well the painting, but after that feeling that they feel good or bad, then maybe they can realize, oh, it got this detail, it got that message.
Do you
know,
enjoy?
after
Do you
that.
enjoy watching people look at your work and getting
Oh
getting
yeah,
reactions?
definitely.
You like that?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I have actually, when I finish one of my paintings, I always put it on the main entrance in my studio. You know?
So people see it and they
So I want to see the reaction.
get the reactions. Well, let's also talk about. I know you work with students,
Mm-hmm.
and you're really big into trying to get students involved in the art.
Yeah, every summer it's been 3 years that I work with charters high schools
Okay.
in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And
What's the purpose of that?
the purpose of that is to get them know that, I mean, everybody can do art.
Okay.
Everybody have the chance to experiment
Right.
with it.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to be good or bad,
Right.
because art is the expression of the soul,
Right.
and it's just personal. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
these students, they need to realize to have more confidence,
Right.
elevate their self-esteem, and feel more comfortable what they really are.
Do you enjoy that interaction with the
Yeah,
students?
yes, of course.
Does that give you ideas for other?
Yeah,
things as well?
definitely. You know, because like this idea of I am another you,
Right,
it came
you're-
from last summer.
Okay.
Working with them on the.
Yeah,
on
that's
the
how
class.
that's how the idea came about.
Uh-huh.
How do you know when you finished a collection or a series? How do you know it's time to move to the next one?
Well, I'm very organized with that. I always have the themes already written down.
So you have the next one already written down too?
Yeah, I have my list of 10 more paintings, you know.
Really? Wow,
And
okay.
I say, okay, this is enough.
Okay. Oh.
So I have enough different themes or situations for the paintings, and I know before starting the paintings
Wow.
how many I'm gonna have.
So it's sort of interesting. You're an artist, which is very creative, but you're also very organized. I mean, that's a little
Yeah,
left
thanks-
brain, right brain, whatever you want to call it, right? I mean,
Thanks to my mom, you know. But yeah, I'm really organized, and I like to have everything in order,
Yeah.
you know, and feel comfortable doing this and that, because I like to do a lot of stuff, you know, and through the time I realized that if I'm really good organizing stuff,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do more.
What's your favorite part about being a visual artist? I mean, you obviously love it.
I guess, you know, living it.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's a lot of artists there. It is hard to accept to be an artist.
Yeah.
You have to confront with yourself and say, you know what, there's no other way. So if I do this, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, you can be a millionaire, you can make a lot of money, but you're never, ever going to be happy.
Do you see that with the students, that some of them maybe they're just using it as an experience, and then other ones are really catching on, and they're like, wow, this guy might.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always one or two,
Yeah.
or maybe three,
Yeah.
that they are totally connected with you.
Is that pretty exciting for you?
Yeah, and you realize these guys, you know, they're, wow, you know, totally excited and feels good, you know, to
Let's
make that
talk
connection.
briefly. You also are a photographer, and you do some tours into Mexico and stuff. What's that all about? How did that get mixed into the mix?
Well, it started because I go every year to visit my family in Guadalajara.
Okay.
So I started taking a lot of photos.
Right.
And then I went to the art shows and bring my paintings and some of the photos.
Yeah.
And people have been asking for more photos. You have more photos. So every year I'm taking more photos. And I was doing different routes and visiting different states.
Yeah.
So what happened at the end of 5 years, after 5 years, there were my clients asking me to do tours for them.
Oh, wow. So that just sort of
Because of
organic.
photos,
It's kind of an organic, just grew out of that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm an open person, you know. I'm always open to different options and possibilities. And I started last year doing the tours, personalized tours, and I'm just open one for artists too.
Wow.
Just focusing on art, visiting artist studios.
That's cool.
And I think it's great that you can do different. As an artist, you have to do different things.
Well, briefly about your photography, how does that feel when you snap it and that's it, versus when you're creating it? You're
Yeah,
painting,
it's
right?
way
That's
different.
totally
Exactly.
different.
You know, the fun thing about the photos is that you can take situations, you know, anything you want. You know, that is there, and sometimes I'm mixing actually right now. My paintings got photographs. I'm mixing photos with the paint.
You seem pretty excited about that.
And yeah, because finally, you know, I got into the technique that I really needed. Yeah.
What do you see in the future? I mean, what are you visualizing? What's coming next?
What's coming next? Well, more collections and probably, maybe, I don't know, pretty soon I'm going to be recognized as one of the greatest Mexican artists at Cicados. Or,
How's that going to make you feel?
well, you know, good, excellent, great. You know, I'm looking for that because it's a hard work. I've been doing this for 20 years. I think I still have a lot of time to do more. Yeah.
Well, Ali, I so enjoyed you being on the show, and I loved your work. It's
Thank you very much.
so
Thank you for
interesting.
inviting me. Have a nice
Maybe
time.
we'll catch up with you down the road and see what you're up to then.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, that's our show, and I hope you enjoyed it. Now, if you have any questions or concerns or comments, or maybe you want to see a past episode, go to InsideCreativeMinds.com. And also go to Facebook and become a fan. Until next time,